Thanks for that intro, Ashley. Can everybody hear me?
Oh, yeah!
All right. Good evening, Beaverton.
Good evening!
Good evening, Washington County. There's love in my heart for you all for turning up on a cold, wintry evening like this to show your support for organizing against racism and all forms of bigotry in Washington County.
Yes!
And it is about time that we did so. There's really not much out here in Washington County, and that's why we do what we do. There we go, that's better. So we are out here, we have formed as a group since the election because we have seen a huge spike in hate attacks in Washington County. We have started an initiative to track that data ourselves. And there's a reason that we're doing our own tracking. The Human Rights Commission is also doing tracking, but we are an independent, non-government organization. And the reason that's necessary is we're not invested in making Beaverton or Hillsborough or Washington County look better. Now we have a couple people out here that are involved in county work or involved in city government, and we see you. You can use your own platforms. We do have a simple message for you, and that's that we appreciate your words. We saw those recent press releases, and all the right words are there. That's great. What we need to see is concrete action, and we haven't seen that yet. We have people at risk out every night. We have people in Washington County, people of color, Muslims, Jews, women, trans people of color, natives that are terrified right now because of the political atmosphere of hatred and othering and white supremacy. So one of the items in our tracking log is last Friday a trans woman friend of mine was accosted from a vehicle as she was walking in her neighborhood, Fir Grove Loop, out in Hillsborough. And she was pretty scared, managed to bluff her way out of the situation. But there was no one there for her. So I think one interesting thing that's coming out of our social mood right now is that the state is not coming to save us. The cops are not coming to save us. They're unable and unwilling. What we are seeing is just outbursts of self-organization. We're seeing neighborhoods that are organizing. We're seeing people who have never organized their sock drawer come out and organize their neighbors. Yeah!
It's true.
It's beautiful. And that's what civic responsibility really is. Your civic responsibility, one day a year, you might think that's dropping your ballot in the ballot box, fine. But what about the other 364 days a year?
That's right.
That's people power. So if you're not doing anything else than dropping your ballot, then you are dropping the ball.
That's right.
We cannot let ourselves do that anymore. People are at risk. People are terrified. We are terrified. All of us have our own fears, our own emotions that we're dealing with. So we need to come together as neighborhoods, as neighbors, simple acts of human kindness and compassion. So we're not calling for revolution here. We're not calling for tearing down buildings. That's not what we're about. Washco Solidarity exists to show solidarity, to protect our most vulnerable. There are many other initiatives that are popping up around the metro area and all across the country that we've been talking to. For instance, there's a group called Safe PDX Neighborhood Groups. And what that does is groups of neighbors who live on the same block or nearby get to know each other. They trade cell phone numbers, and that's your first line of defense. If you see something, don't say something, do something.
Yes.
right.
Yes.
And it's not just about people in your in-group, right? It's not just about people that you have their list. If you see a person of color or a trans woman or an immigrant being harassed or attacked in the street, you call your group, you SOS your group, you let somebody know, and you go out and you record. You can stand 50 feet away and video with your phone. You can get faces and license plates. Just the act of you being there shows that that person is not alone. And more often than not, that precipitates the end of the incident. I have a little quote that's very appropriate I would like to read. Some of you may recognize this one. Years ago, I recognized my kinship with all living beings, and I made up my mind that I was not one bit better than the meanest on earth. I said then, and I say now, that while there is a lower class, I am in it. While there is a criminal element, I am of it. And while there is a soul in prison, I am not free. That's Eugene Debs in 1918. Washco Solidarity would like to add, as long as there are people of color, we are with them.
Yes.
As long as there are LGBT people, we are with them.
Yes!
As long as there are immigrants, we are with them. As long as there are women, we are with them. That's what we're about. There are groups out there like Next Door that are kind of NIMBY, not in my backyard. You see a lot of anti-homelessness in there. You see a lot of suspicion of others. You see a lot of what can I do to maintain my property values.
Gentrification.
Gentrification. That is not what Washco Solidarity is about.
Right.
When we see a homeless person or a person of color in our neighborhood, our reaction is not suspicion. Our reaction is, do they need something?
Yes.
Are they afraid? Why are they in the street? Like, can I help them? Are they warm? We need to learn how to be humans towards each other, how to live in community instead of isolation. Because the system isolates us. Like, how many of you know how much your neighbor pays in rent or on their mortgage? Raise your hand if you know. Okay, 4 hands. 4 hands. That's like, what, 7% maybe.
Try again.
How many of you know what the person in the cubicle next to you or the office next to you, what's their salary? One of you. There's a reason for that. It's because we are isolated. We are living in an engineered isolation. Why is that?
That's right.
Because we are weak when we are alone, when we feel alone. We live in a system that causes us to live in competition, not mutual aid, not compassion, not solidarity, not even class consciousness.
Nope.
Now is the time to challenge that.
Yes.
Meet your neighbors,
Yes.
meet your coworkers. Talk honestly. Even if you have disagreements, talk honestly. Build bridges. People power is the only thing that will get us through the coming years. We should have done it before now, but now is the time more than ever. As threats are increasing, as society is falling to pieces, I think we all feel that. That's why we're all out here.
Yes.
That's why we're scared. That's why we're taking action. But we can do that. We can be there for one another. That's what we're all about. Thank you, Washington County, for coming out. Thank you so much.